All right, everyone. Welcome back. Uh Throne Bros, another week, the finale of season two, House of the Dragon. And not gonna lie to you, 3 Hour Raven. I don't know what you've been hearing, what you've been seeing, but people are kind of negative on this.
Yeah, I've been seeing mixed signals. So
Well,
you
we're
know,
here
I,
to
I, I honestly, I kind of have mixed signals myself, but we'll talk about it.
yeah. I agree. There is. So, as usual, thank you for tuning in. Me and the 3 Hour Raven appreciate it. Like, subscribe, share. We appreciate all the support. And hopefully we can make you guys feel better about what you're feeling or feel, whichever way you're leaning. So let's get into it. Um, Episode 8, finale, 8 episode season instead of 10. Anyway, The Queen, Whoever Was, is the title of this finale. It starts off with Tylan, trying to parlay with the or negotiate with the triarchy.
Yep.
Pretty easy, they're asking for their demands. Tylan's like, yeah, I don't know, whatever. They said the commander has to agree. It's this commander's a lady. They make it seem like it was a he, and she wants to basically fight Tylan, kind of see if he could. He's better than her. So
Yeah. So in this part, right, the triarchy they asked for the stepstones, right, and Lannister he says, I don't know if we could give you that, but they decide that they're gonna give him Lannister the warships, but they have to take their captain, which is Admiral Lohar, the
yes,
lady. Yeah.
yeah. So that's that. It settles with her saying, "You got to beat me in something before I can," And he's like, "What?" And then cuts away. We go to Vagar. Vagar's face steaming with Aemon on top of him. Turns out he burned. Aemon got mad after leaving Dragonstone. You know what I mean? And seeing the dragons, and he just went to a random town. What's the name of the town? 3 Hour Raven.
It's called Sharp Town. Oh no, Sharp Point. Sharp
Sharp
Point. I'm sorry.
Sharp Point, and he just burned it just because, like,
Yeah,
and he's sitting there staring at it burn and everything. Um,
yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
okay, yeah. This
So
goes into Aegon with the Maester is next. He's giving him, I don't know if it's milk to the puppy, but he was giving him something. Aegon wanted, I don't know if it's water, medicine, something. Aegon wanted more. They're talking a little bit about, actually, I don't know what they're actually talking about. I didn't write it down, but I know that the next conversation that comes in, because Laris pops in as usual. Laris has had a good interest in Aegon because him and Aemon don't get along, and he wants to live. He doesn't trust Aemon because Aemon's out of control. You know what I mean? So Laris comes in, tells Aegon the plan. The plan from Laris is basically, look, your sister's got dragon riders. You know what I mean? She's gonna come at some point because back then, she had the advantage in the dragon. So everybody, you know, obviously she has the advantage. He tells Aegon, like, look, your brother's gonna is mad and he's gonna kill you at some point. I've already told you this. We gotta get out of here. We gotta get you out of here just in case. He suggests going to Essos. Aegon's like, you want me to go with the goat fuckers? Is I think is what he says. And uh yeah, like anything else that I missed there on that one?
so basically, Laris wants to go to Essos with Aegon, and he wants to let Rhaenyra and Aemon just fight it out, and then they want to come back after the events. That way, Aegon could look like the hero or the peacemaker. You know.
Yeah.
But
Aegon the
yeah,
Peacemaker, Aegon the Rebuilder. They go over the names of what
yeah.
Aegon.
Oh, but something I noticed, right? Right before the scene cuts off, Aegon says, "Aegon, the realm's delight." Now, Rhaenyra was the realm's delight
Yes.
so when she was young. So this kind of shows like a bit of jealousy. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see where that goes. Cuts to Raina just looking, just running, looking, searching, looking tired. She's been searching all over the veil, all these open things. She finds some water. She's just going after. That was a quick thing.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, she's searching for that dragon. Uh, Next we come back to Dragonstone, where Jace had some words with Ulf, who who's a little bit of a he's a little bit of a character. Has his feet up on the table where because they were at the Hugh and Ulf were at the small council where they meet. They're checking out the table, the feet where Ulf didn't know at the like in the beginning who Jace was. Hugh had to point it out. So Hugh's acting the normal out of the two.
I think he was being a little sarcastic,
He was
but continue.
most of it, the
Yeah.
whole time we see off the episode, he's been very sarcastic and very I don't know abrasive. Is abrasive the right word? I don't know, but he's
Yeah.
being really like off putting honestly. Yeah, so he sets them straight. He's like, like basically Jace is going through something, like as we know from the previous episode where he's kind of mad about this plan. He doesn't trust, he's thinking his legitimacy and all that. So Jace is going through a whole thing.
Yeah.
Um, then we go to Corlys and Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra was over at the port, um, and Rhaenyra's kind of talking to Corlys about, you know, if her trust in these new riders because she doesn't know them. Obviously, she kind of brings up Adam because he came from Corliss's stuff. Corliss kind of says like, "Yeah, what I've heard is this," and still no revealing to Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
The beginnings of Adam, and then they keep conversating about that, and then they're like, you know, Corliss brings up like there is another dragon that you have that needs to come to the fold, and then it pans over to Damon, who's at Harrenhal. They're getting ready at Harrenhal. Did I
Oh,
something?
well, just to go back one quick second.
Yeah,
So Corliss, he changed the name of his ship from Sea Snake to the Queen That Never Was. Just just want to throw that in there. Sorry.
he
So
did. He
Damon,
did do that. He did do that. He said that everything he does from now on is to like basically commemorate her in her name.
yeah,
Like that's what he's doing. So it pans over to Damon at Harrenhal after Corliss poses that to Rhaenyra. They're getting ready at Harrenhal. They're sharpening the swords. You know what I mean? My man comes in.
Sir Alfred.
Yeah. So Alfred is it Broom, I think, or something like that. Broom.
I actually don't know his
It
his
says it.
last.
Strong says it in the episode. I think it's
Yeah,
Broom because I wrote Broom down.
but yeah,
Um.
Alfred. Yeah,
So Damon kind of laughs when Strong says, "So Alfred's here," and he's like, "Oh, you come at the right time to see my armies." And then he wants to talk to Damon alone. He kind of brings up his doubts. He's doubting Rhaenyra. He wants, I don't know, like trying to raise the doubt in Damon, basically. And Strong is listening. He's listening. This is key. Because Strong ends up, not to spoil it, you'll get it. Strong ends up sending a raven to Rhaenyra, like, hey, there might be some wearing of Damon's sides. I'm getting ahead. We'll get to that, but you know, anything from that conversation that we need to expand on.
yeah. So basically, Sir Alfred, he basically tells Damon like, hey, Rhaenyra isn't really the best choice. We kind of want a king to follow. So we kind of see Sir Alfred kind of switching sides a little bit.
He's being a man. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. But then we move on to the next scene after that. We get Sir Wilde talking with Aemon,
yes,
and he was letting him know how what Rhaenyra did by
yeah, with the
sending the
bastards.
ships
Yeah,
and getting the bastards, and Aemon suggests closing the ports. That way, no one can get in or get out.
yeah. And then we go to Allison Helena, because Helena, whichever way you want to say it.
Mhm.
The way it was said in this episode was Helena because earlier in that Corliss conversation, Helena gets brought up. But anyway, um, Helena and Allison are talking. Helena's acting like usual. She's kind of telling her mom like, "I felt better when I was when I wasn't queen," and you know, just normal Helena behavior. And then Aemon marches in, and he's like, "Hey, I need you." Um, basically without saying our sister's got people. I need you to get on Dreamfire.
Well, one thing he said, he was like, "Oh yeah, she let these commoners, uh,
It,
I
a
forget the
lot of
wording, but they
yeah.
messed up the Dragon Rider. Damn, I can't think
Well,
of
he
the
spoke
word.
about lineage. He
Yeah,
spoke
yeah,
about the lineage and like the legacy that he was basically trying to get to Helena about, like how because she allowed this, her
mhm,
sister's messing up the lineage, and she needed
yeah,
him to come to make. He needed her to join to make things right because he didn't want it to go like that. Basically,
yeah,
it's what like it shouldn't go like that. Because Aemon Aemon cares about this thing. Um, Allison gets mad. She's like, no, she's not. She gets in the way as mom. It's like, no, like, you know what I mean? Like, basically calls him out and basically says, oh, so you get mad you get mad and just go burn like a town. Like, basically, she like calls him out and basically tells him like Helena is not gonna do this um at all. So he kind of leaves after getting chewed out by mom. You know what I mean? And then just
yeah.
um well, we will see him again. Right after this, Allison is seen with the Maester, and she's asking him for a favor. She's asking him for safe passage again, discreetly, obviously. Make sure that nobody knows, obviously. So we'll see later on what this is as well. Um, it goes to Cole right after Allison. They show Cole. Cole's looking at the handkerchief that Allison gave him in like an earlier episode, like 1 or 2 or whatever it was. And he's confronted by her brother. Basically, he basically calls him out about the relationship with his sister, asks him if he values his oath,
Yeah.
and basically like I don't know, just confronts him, and he basically kind of replies with like one of the things that gets brought up is like, you're letting down your brothers, and he kind of says, do they really follow it? Which is something that like
Yeah.
everybody knows that like nobody's really followed it. Everybody's out there, doing their thing at the brothel at night, late at night when the shift's kind of over. Um, and then he kind of tells her that she saved him twice, and then he kind of calms down. Brother comes down after hearing him what he had to say, and this is where he kind of says like, the dance of the dragon is happening while we're just dust at the feet of them. Basically, like it's explaining like this isn't about the humans, but we're in it. But like this is about these beasts, these beautiful beasts, and then we're just nothing to them. Basically, is basically what he says when it comes to that little speech he does after um they kind of cool down on his accusations. But anything from that nothing.
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Next, it goes to Tylan having his little mud wrestling thing with the commander
Lohar.
Lohar. He ends up winning. He wasn't winning at first. He ends up just like punching the crab out or slapping, backhanding the shit out of her. She bleeds a little bit. And she's like, "Oh, you're good." And then she invites him to dinner, makes a joke about it that they eat humans, and he's kind of like thrown away, and gets that invitation. So far so good for Thailand in that plan. Um, we go to Bela and Jace. They have a conversation because Jace is moody and he's in his looking at this thing. Basically, Bela lifts his spirit and tries to show him like, look, if you let yourself get caught up in the whole how you don't feel that you're legitimate, then then how are people going to take you seriously? You gotta play the part, and basically tells them like, do you think you're the only one that wasn't born, noble? I mean, not noble, but you the only one that wasn't tainted with throughout the years? Kind of is what she meant to say, for lack of a better term. Like, you're not the only honorable birth that wasn't really honorable. Like, basically trying to lift his spirits. Like, you got to look at the thing at the bigger picture. Like, you are your mother's son, so you need to be with her. You need to stand with her instead of like trying to fight her. Like, and that's gonna show people what you think you deserve, or who you are, in true name, basically.
Yeah.
That's
Yep. So just told him stop bitching.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Next we get Rain again, Cold by Rock. She's still searching. Nothing to go into that there. And, it seems like it's been days, maybe weeks. We don't know the
Yeah.
timeline. Tylan at the dinner. He's sharing the dinner that he got invited with. Um, Commander Lohar. She announces that she's gonna ride with him, and then ask him to basically put a child on her wives, and be, so
Yeah. Pretty much.
that's
Yeah.
it. Then we go to the dinner with the Dragon Riders. Rhaenyra with her crown on. She finally has her crown on. Ever since she got these Dragon Riders, she put on that crown. You know what I mean? She's wearing it. You know what I mean? I don't think we've seen her wear it since, like, I guess her dad died. You know what I mean? Like, right. So she's having dinner. Obviously, Ulf is acting a fool. He's asking for the little birds, and demanding things at the table. Rhaenyra's trying to get a message across about, like, we need to. This is the plan. We need to be together. There's some questions. What about Vagar? He kind of reassures them, like, if we're all together, she can't last. She hasn't faced all of us together. You know what I mean? So she's basically planning, like, telling them the plan, but also like preaching some unity there between the new people, and while Ulf is being, loud and sarcastic. And then she tells them, like, if everything goes right and we get to the mission, I'm gonna make you all knights. And he keeps talking at the end. She calls him out, and then he makes a sarcastic joke about then you should make me a knight. Like, because he was acting a fool, and she said, knights should act like this. In this dinner, it gets interrupted by the maester with the letter from Strong. We did spoil that. And basically he tells Rhaenyra that Strong is writing. He says he has doubts about what Daemon's about to do. You see Rhaenyra come back into the room and say, Adam, come with me, which the camera pans on Jace, with Jace kind of like, worried. And we'll see what comes of that, because we don't get any more Jace after this in the episode. Spoiler. So yeah, she calls Adam. They go into the room, and then it goes to Daemon sleeping. Daemon sleeping at her, or trying to, at least. And then we see that at the corner of his bed, at the edge of his bed, is Alice sitting. Daemon basically wakes up, because I don't think he was ever asleep. As we know, he doesn't sleep. And he basically says, like, do you ever sleep? Basically asks Alice. And she's like, I don't even think she answers the question, but she says, I'm going to the Godswood. As we know from before, the Godswood is where, Three-Eyed Raven, all that, the tree that everybody prays to, all that. And we get an interesting thing. And I thought this was a really cool thing that happens. You, as a Three-Eyed Raven, probably have some thoughts on it. And so they go to the Godswood, and the first thing you see, which I don't know what you think, but people on the line have pointed out that there was somebody wearing a horned helmet.
I didn't peep it.
You know, people, the guy like walk in when they first come in.
When they first walk into the Godswood?
Yeah, there's like somebody like they
Oh
said
no,
that was somebody with like the deer head helmet.
oh,
That's what the internet's saying. and they slowed
Yeah,
it
I
down.
gotta rewatch it.
Yeah. So that was the first interesting thing, supposedly. I didn't like when I first watched. I didn't peep. Like I saw it, but I was like, I don't. Who is this person? Like whatever. Anyway, she basically says to Damon, all your answers. Basically that he's changed since he got here, but all the answers he seeks are like he's about to get the answers to if he's ready. Basically, she tells Damon to touch the Godswood, and the Godswood's crying, as they like to say, and we get into Damon's head, and he sees the vision. We see some things that we've seen before, guys. We see the White Walkers for the first time. We see I guess when the White Walker was being made, like right at the beginning, because he stuck to or the god, the the original 3-Eye Raven. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That we see, not the, but we do see the White Walkers after the original 3-Eye Raven. We do see bodies. We do see a dead dragon. We see Damon falling into the water. Um, After he falls into the water, goes black, but it comes up. You see a white headed lady with 3 dragons. You see the eggs before that. See 3 dragons being born. We can assume who that is. You see, and then it goes.
We don't have to assume. We know who it is. It
Yes,
already
yes.
happened.
Then it goes to him at the throne room, and he sees Rhaenyra with the crown, and basically he's a changed man. But
Yeah,
also, the
so
interesting part is, should we save it? Did you say? Because there's the ending
well,
of this is
I
interesting.
was gonna say, at this point, we don't really know much about the Three Eye Raven. They don't really talk about it much, but I think Alice is connected to the Godswood somehow, and I think Helena is connected
Well,
somehow as
yes,
well.
that was the big reveal. Remember how earlier in one of our episodes we were talking about how you brought it up, how people have always said that Helena's they think Helena's crazy, but it's not really she's crazy. She sees things, or she has some type of telepathic thing. And I think we finally got an answer to it a little bit. Helena pops up in Damon's vision in the Godswood, and she's talking to him, right? And she tells him, "You have a part to play in everything. Like this is like the answer you were seeking, but you have a part to play." But the interesting part is she is at King's Landing talking to him, because it pans to the next scene and she's finishing the line. Like, what you have to do. Like, this is what you're set to do. So I don't know if we want to expand on that, but it goes to the next scene, which is also interesting, and which I think we should talk about too. Well, we are, but we could do it now. It goes from her finishing that sentence, looking out into King's Landing, outside of like a balcony or something, or steps that are outside. It's hard to tell what King's Landing looks like in general. Aemon pops up after she's done talking, and she has Aemon again. He's like, "I need you." You know what I mean? Like, I need you to ride. And she's like, they get in an argument with, basically she calls him out, and like basically like, "Are you gonna burn me like you did Aegon?" And he's like, "What?" He's like, "What are you talking about, crazy sister of mine?" Kind of. And she's like, I saw you do it." Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, I can, that's treason, what you're saying. I can have you killed for that. And he's like, "Even if you kill me, it's not gonna matter. You're gonna die," is basically what she says. And then Aegon's going to sit on a wooden throne, which obviously we know because he's crippled. So that, I think that was the biggest thing. I mean, you could correct me. For me, that was the biggest scene, or 2 scenes, I guess you could call it, like that of this episode for me, and it was really cool.
I mean, it was a big moment, but my big moment is coming up actually right after this.
Yeah.
So, are you good with that?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. So next scene we see Adam and Rhaenyra pulling up to Harrenhal. She meets with Simon up at the front. They go in, and no one. No one bats an eye. No one bends the knee. No one acknowledges her. And then Damon comes up.
The C parts as he's coming up to go talk to her.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, so basically she she tells him, "Hey, you did a good job. You raised the army." He says, "Yeah, they're sworn to me." And then she asks Damon, "Well, who are you sworn to?" So they get into a little talk. They start speaking Valerian, and he basically starts telling her about the vision. You know, not exactly word for word about the vision, but he knows that something's coming. And he tells her
We're
like,
just
"Yeah,
we're just a piece in the war to
yeah,
come, is what he says.
yeah." So basically tells her about the vision, and he admits, finally admits that she's the rightful queen. He ends up bending the knee, swearing himself. And once he bends the knee, everyone else in the room started bending the knee. So we see that the River Lords are backing Rhaenyra now, and I thought it was a big moment because Damon, seeing that switch from kind
Yes.
of like a selfish Damon to now he kind of has like his eye on the prize,
It
kind
was a
of.
quick switch. Like he
Yeah,
understood after that vision. I don't know, like
yeah.
never seemed to be a
Well,
religious guy or a believer in
yeah,
these things, and then had a moment with the gods wood, and it just seemed to like he gets it.
yeah.
Kind of.
And then one thing I do want to point out is that when everyone was cheering at the end before the scene cuts off, we see Sir Alfred. He walks away in the crowd. So we kind of see he's kind of scared of the outcome. He might get hanged, or he might get his head chopped off for basically trying to take
Raising his
David's prize.
concerns.
Yeah.
He
So
thought
I
he,
think he's scared of what could happen next.
yeah, he thinks there's gonna be you know, a little bit of this, just a
Bring me his head.
little bit of that
Yep.
there. But anyway, yeah, that was a big moment too. They came back to back. Um, big moments were, I guess you could say, both sides, because what Helena told Aemon, kind of like, you're gonna die. She didn't say how. You know, we might know how, but whatever. We're not gonna reveal it for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, two big moments back to back. Um, I thought that was cool. He kind of told her, like, basically one of the things at the end after he swore to her, he was like, if you leave me again, like, or you're on your own, or you know what I mean, like, because basically I'm gonna get you, basically. um, we go back to Corliss at the dock. He's talking to Alan about I don't know, concerns of the people on the ship, that he needs to be more personable, some BS like that. And it turns into an argument where Alan finally gets to say what he's been trying to say or wanted to say for years about the treatment that, or not treatment, that he's gotten for, or attention that he's never gotten from Corliss, and the fact that, like, basically calls Corliss out, like, don't try now. Like, I don't want it. Like, you had plenty of chances, and now that all your kids are your the ones you wanted aren't here, now you want to pay attention to us and want to be around. He's like, well, I don't want it. Like, I'm gonna do my job because I'm loyal, not because you're my dad, basically. you know so anything there that outside of the brief that needs to
Yeah.
be.
Some daddy issues.
Yeah.
No, nothing too memorable.
Yeah. Then we get Reyna still looking once again, but she does hear the dragon. Okay. Um then we get Rhaenyra and uh Masara,
Masseria.
Masseria, and they're talking. She's kind of pumping Rhaenyra up because Rhaenyra still has doubts about the what she did with the Dragon Riders a little bit, and I think she just has doubts about the trust part. She's telling me you did something that's ever been done. She's trying to, like, pump her up. You know what I mean? Kind of like what Bela did with Jace, in a way. Anything there? before the big
Oh
closing
no.
moment.
Yeah.
Rhaenyra is seen in bed. She's woken up by a knock. Right, it's one of her Kingsguard. When they open a door, she says, "Come." She goes down to her like little, I guess, library or because it's like
It
the library.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, doesn't matter. And there waiting is Allison. Now we know where she wanted passage to. It's her and Allison. They get this talk that happens where they go back and forth about, you know, basically Allison is there to try to make like some last minute piece or to make some openings for like her and Elena and like the kids that aren't too far gone, I guess. Well, basically her whole family in a way, because I think she she doesn't like where Aemon's head is, and then like she knows that Rhaenyra has the advantage, so she's kind of like pleading, but also tells her, which Rhaenyra's fighting back, like, why now? You had a chance to do this, like, like you had plenty of chances. Allison's telling her, like, your dad always loved your mom, like I was just kind of there, like, that's why he chose you, like things like that. Rhaenyra's calling her out, like, then why did you go with your own, or doubt what he said? Like, they're hashing things out that they should have hashed out, that they didn't get to hash out because the war started right after, basically. So they were separated. And even at the church, they didn't get to have that talk when Rhaenyra went over there. Basically, Allison tells her, look, Aemon's leaving in a couple days to go meet with Cole and them in Harrenhal. You could come in then, since Elena's going to be in charge, and we'll give it to you peacefully. Nothing. We'll hand it over. King's Landing. Rhaenyra questions it a little bit. She's like, why? She was like, what about Aegon? And she's like, Aegon's a crippled, like, you know what I mean? Which Rhaenyra's like, you're just going to give it to me? Like, you know what I have to do. I have to take his head and people have to see it, which Allison's kind of like reserved for it. But I guess in the end, I wouldn't say she agreed to it, but she kind of was like,
She just kind of gave in.
yeah, she gave in. It's like, I guess she gave in because she thought her son was gone anyway. Like, and he's kind of like having a rough go.
And honestly, I think they're hiding the fact that he's doing like the therapy. So I don't think outside of like Laris and the Maester, I don't think they know like his condition really. They
Because
just
every
kind of
time
see
she's
him in
gone
bed.
in, he's been like sleeping and
Yeah.
like in bed. So yeah, that's true. Um, yeah. So basically, she lets her go. They agree. I guess they agree on the plan. I guess, or Rhaenyra knows the plan. Basically, she goes. She lets her go. Okay. This goes to the final moments of the episode, which is bunch of it's people getting ready basically for what's to come. We see
Yeah.
little flashes though. First, we see the Dragon Riders getting fitted. You know, Adam, Ulf, Hugh, they're getting their gear on. Um, we see Rhaena still searching real quick. We see the the Green Army marching, the from Old Town, those guys, and you see Darren, see that
Well,
beautiful blue
we see
dragon.
his dragon.
Yeah, we'll
We
see
don't
his
see
dragon.
actually see Darren.
Yeah, I mean they'll have to hire an actor to play
Yeah.
older Darren, but he's on there. Beautiful blue dragon. Then it goes back to
We see the Starks crossing
crossing
the
the
twins.
twin,
Yeah.
crossing the twins. Um,
The Lannisters marching.
Lannisters marching. They can see Harrenhal from this, so they're not too far away. Um, Rhaena finally finds the dragon. She finds, we don't know who it is. I think a sheep stealer. We don't know. It could be cannibal. It could be old ghost. Those are the three that haven't been mentioned that are out there. Um, Damon's ready. He's walking down, marching down Harrenhal steps. He sees all his armies out there. We see the Triarchy coming in the
With
rain.
Thailand.
The Tylan. We see Alan and Corliss, with their gear ready and taking a little boat to
Sailing
go
to the
to
boat. Yep.
to go to the boat. We see Otto in a cage. Where's Otto, Three-Eye Raven? Is he with the Triarchy? And
I
we
don't
and
know.
Talon doesn't know it.
I got to go back into my notes. Obviously this isn't the time right now, but um, I do have to look back and figure out if he does get like caged up in the book. But I don't know who has him prisoner.
We'll see. Could be the Triarchy. It could be that when he left King's Landing, he went over there to try to do something on the side because he's always thinking of his family. You know what I mean? But it we don't know. It was a dark. You could see like some little bit of light, and you could see him. You know, hasn't shaved in months and all that. We see Aegon and Laris in this carriage leaving King's Landing. We see Allison looking out into into the beyond. We see Rhaenyra looking out into the beyond, and then episode over. Um, yeah, man. Uh, I I like the episode. I'm gonna be honest. I expected more, and I think that's where my disappointment comes. I think disappointment comes with expectations. So I thought there was gonna be something big, big. Obviously, we got two big things that we pointed out. You know, Damon bending the knee, and then all the armies bending the knee behind him. But also, you know, the division, the Godswood, and the Three-Eye Raven. First time has been mentioned here. But
All right, so my bad.
yeah,
So I'm looking at my notes, right? And in the book, Otto's the one that he's the one that negotiates with the Triarchy,
yeah,
not Lannister. So I don't know if maybe something happened or
on
what
his
they
own.
changed for the
Yeah.
show. But yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I said maybe he went on his own. That's what kind of was implying. I
Yeah.
kind of researched that a little bit. So you know what I mean? Um, yeah. So basically, for TV, unfortunate to most people's thing, if you want more of this, they got to extend it. So what they did is all the action is going to happen in season 3, and we'll see
Well, they announced the season 4 too, so it might get stretched out even more.
even more. So there you go, guys. Especially if they're going to do 8. It's easy to stretch out 8 instead of 10. So, and good news for us because we'll be back next week with the fully wrapped episode of our thoughts and everything and what we think is going on. But just announced, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms will air sometime next year in 2025. It's another prequel. Um, the Three-Eye Raven knows a little bit about it. I think it's also a filler because they know we want this stuff before, because I think it's going to take another 2 years before season 3. So either way, we're not complaining. We'll be here. We'll be watching. We'll be talking about the Night of the Seven Kingdoms and anything that comes up. Because once again, my wish is we get Robert's Rebellion. That would be my ultimate wish, to tie everything together and to get to where we were. We're working backwards, but that's usually what happens, unfortunately, with
Yeah.
TV. The big thing makes money, and let's make some more money by
Right.
seeing how we got there. But
Yeah.
we ain't complaining. We'll be here. We'll be talking. We're gonna be back next week. We'll do a full wrap on everything, how we feel, what we think is gonna happen, and then like anything else, just we're gonna talk about it. But as usual, thanks again for tuning in once again to the Throne Bros. Peace.